The Kentucky Wildcats are 3 games into an SEC schedule showing 0 wins, 2 consecutive losses by a very similar margin, and of course, 1 coach who remains defiant in the odds of all questioning or in the face of reality. Stick with us. We'll talk about it now. What's cooking? Welcome back into another edition of Now We Can Talk Like Fans here on ESPN Louisville Plus. My name is Justin Sofro, and of course, we're talking all things cards, cats, bourbon, and bluegrass. And most importantly, we have to look a bit more at the bluegrass state, and of course, the most important city of Lexington when it pertains to the University of Kentucky Wildcats and one Mark Stoops, a man who remains defiant and remains non-remorseful for the contract that he is signed to, regardless of the outcome of what he's putting out there on the field. A man who had I stretch to say a pretty solid run and solid part of his tenure early on, getting Kentucky Wildcats to be formidable, somewhat competitive in the SEC. Regardless of the games that were pulled away from cheating or whatever you want to call it, we still have many good seasons that we can look back on where Mark Stoops had put together a pretty good product and brought in some pretty great talent. It's clear to see that that is no longer the case for one Mark Stoops. He's lost his big dog. His big dog has wandered off, has joined the Louisville Cardinals and Jeff Brom, who have their own problems, but we're focused on Kentucky right now. As it stands, Mark Stoops getting obliterated once again by another SEC program 2 weeks in a row. You follow up a beatdown by Big Daddy Shane Beamer, 35-13, with another one to one of the actual heavyweights of the conference, 35-14 at Georgia. And let's not kid ourselves. If Big Daddy Kirby Smart wanted to be a little bit more heavy-handed with Mark Stoops, he could have. They were rolling on the points early, and they took it easy to finish it off. Let's not kid ourselves with the way that it ended. It is not. It could have been much, much worse than the 35-14 that we ended the game with. Very little positive for Kentucky fans to take away from it, and I don't think any Kentucky fans live in any sorts of delusion of grandeur that Mark Stoops will figure this thing out, that will get the ball rolling, that will solve this issue. There's only one issue that remains to be solved when it comes to Kentucky, and it's getting kind of tiresome to have to keep talking about it, but we have to because it's an issue. It's a big issue because Mitch Barnhart, he and Mother put together that contract, and it's an abysmal situation that handcuffs the university and handcuffs the fan base to a coach that they no longer want to be there and a coach that's putting in the effort of somebody who no longer wants to be there. But he remains defiant. That being said, rumors had fluttered about the possibility of Mark Stoops figuring out a way to pull the old John Calipari and bow out somewhat gracefully and try to save the relationship with him. That news we put out there is a little bit, let's just say the source. I'm not going to pretend like let's not kid ourselves. It wasn't the best source to begin with, but that is one Alan Cutler of No Filter Sports Talk of ESPN Sports Radio in Lexington. Let's go ahead and just play that sound for you now, and I'll go ahead and play that, and we'll react to it.
Sources are telling me that Mark Stoops went to Mitch Barnhart after the Tennessee game and said he wanted out and he would negotiate the buyout. I'm going to repeat this. Mark Stoops went to UK Athletics Director Mitch Barnhart, this is last year, and said he wanted out and was willing to negotiate his buyout, and it never happened.
And there you have it. Straight from the mouth of one Alan Cutler. Now, who's to say? Who's to say if he's a great source or not? Who's to say how knowledgeable he is? But at the same time, I tend to believe this. I tend to believe, for all intents and purposes, if we've watched what has happened and what has unfolded in Lexington, I could see Mark Stoops maybe trying to bend an olive branch to his guy Mitch Barnhart, who he knows has stuck by him through thick and thin. no matter what, every situation, every turn, every issue, every pony up. The entire time while Calipari was here, Mitch Barnhart remained steadfast in his corner. He stayed with Mark Stoops the entire time. And now it's pretty clear that Mark Stoops and his time at the University of Kentucky is over and needs to be over for all parties involved. I bet he's looking over at Texas A&M right now, top 5 in the country under Elko, who ended up getting that job from Duke after everything imploded for Mark Stoops there. Interesting nonetheless, but just really the important part, though, is while that came out there was also the video of what Mark Stoops had to say when he was asked about this in the post-game press conference. And there's something I kind of just want to touch on a little bit. Obviously, a funny note just about that sound that we just listened to. Alan Cutler, man is, and this is noted by one Andy Sweeney and Nicholas Valvano on the Take on ESPN Louisville, 680, 105.7, Monday through Friday, 12 to 3 p.m., and on the ESPN Louisville app. You can listen to them there. The longest pauser I've ever heard on that. That was clearly had to be edited out. I edited that, cut every long pause out. We're talking 7 to 8, 10 seconds per pause. Like if you're doing radio, he does radio at ESPN Lexington. I don't know how it doesn't go to dead air every time. I don't know how you don't get an alert, an alarm that it's dead air. Anyway, that was pointed out by Andy and them, but also reviewing it's tremendous. I don't know what other word to say. Abysmal. I don't know. Anyway, let's go to the actual more important reason why we're here, and that are the comments made by from the question, but then of course Mark Stoops when talking about being asked about the rumors that he was trying to work out a deal to leave.
I mean, I hate to give anything like that legs. There's zero. I told you last year, right? You know what I mean? You guys could write and say what you want about me, but I mean, I told you there's zero chance I'm walking away. You know what I mean? Zero. And, there's no quitting me, so that's unequivocally 100% false. And anybody says otherwise is lying.
You said at the start, we're not doing that.
And I don't want to address that crap no more. I mean, I hate to give anything like that legs.
I gotta unmute myself a little bit. Let me just turn down the volume of this a little bit. You know what I mean? But just listen here. Listen to the last few seconds. Listen to that last comment he makes.
And I don't want to address that crap no more.
Okay, let me actually have to turn it back up.
I hate to give anything like that legs.
Listen to this.
And I don't want to address that crap no more.
There was a big crack. Do you hear that? There was a crack, and it's not just Stoops not pulling his pants up. There's a big crack there in his voice. And I'll be honest, I have a little bit of feeling for Mark Stoops in this moment. Listen.
You said at the start, we're not doing that.
And I don't want to address that crap no more.
Like there's a little crack in his voice there. I don't know if it comes off as well over that, but in my headphones, I can really hear it. There's a crack in Mark Stoops' voice. And this is one of those situations that make this difficult. I understand at this point, Mark Stoops has got to go. It's time to leave. It's time to find a way out for both parties. But you're looking at a $44 million issue there. And one of the things I will say, and there's two parts to this. Obviously, Mark Stoops is going to stand his ground. He ain't leaving unless they work out some deal where he's going to get a lot of money to walk. Right, let's not clear ourselves. He's going to get a large sum of money to walk. Is it going to be the 44 mil or whatever that he is owed? Probably not. But at the same time, he may be willing to come down a little bit. But it's still going to be a pretty penny that the university is going to be paying him to no longer coach their football program. But there's this little part of me. I can't help it. But I've got a little bit emotional there listening to him. Listening to him talk and those last little comments by Mark Stoops, just kind of saying, that I don't want to hear that crap no more. There's a crack in his voice, and I don't know. Maybe go back and listen to it. You can hear it there. He's hurt. That's a hurt man, and I get it, and it's hard. I mean, you got to imagine he's been here for over a decade at the University of Kentucky. He has built somewhat. I mean, a more respectable program that you had to look at for the most part, Joker Phillips and everybody that came before him was a little bit in the Rich Brooks era that was respectable and was good. But outside of that, a lot of bum football. So I have a little bit of empathy there for Mark Stoops. It's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt feeling all the people that used to surround you and love you up and smooch you up. I think it was a KSR guy who asked that question. It may have been Nick Roush. I can't remember, but it was a KSR guy. Guys who used to love him up. He had his little stool sitting there at the table at KS Bar. We talked about it. We laughed about it. Oh, that's so great. Yeah, Stoops and Big Dog and everybody was all there. They all had great times. They went to Jeff Ruby's, all that stuff. And now it's just changed and it's clear. All the people, all those faces that used to love and adore you, that used to smooch up to you, that used to, be the first ones there to dab you up, to hug you up, to love you, are now the same ones that are trying to push you out the door, that are trying to get you gone, that are talking about how you're the problem with the program, that are not. And again, I understand that I am a fan. I would do the same thing. This also takes me back, reminds me of the Steve Crackthorpe years at Louisville. Steve Crackthorpe, for all intents and purposes, was a pretty decent guy. I never had a hate for him. And if this is the first time you're watching this video, I'm actually a Louisville fan, but I think I'm reasonable, so I talk Louisville and Kentucky. And also, in case somebody at ESPN Louisville that's a UK person wants to come on here. Otherwise, I'll be talking about them. Right? I'll be the one talking. Anybody else who wants to help me out here on this, hop on in, jump in the studio, do me a favor, record a video. Anyway, but as it stands there, I remember Steve Crackthorpe, even though he was a miserable college coach, he ruined some of the great things that Louisville football had become. Though maybe there's some things with Bobby, the way he leaves things in the wake of destruction in his absence. Maybe it could have been a little bit of that too. But at the same time, with Steve Crackthorpe, I remember his Tom George gave him a goodbye press conference. And it was one of the more kind-hearted things I've ever seen. Just seeing a man who felt like he truly cared. But also just it's also difficult watching a man sit in his failure. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a guy who cares about this Kentucky program, who has loved being the coach at Kentucky while he's been here. But at the same time is currently sitting in the wake of his failure. And there's no possibility of him getting out of it. Now the big question is, will he do right by the fans? Will he find a way to cut a little bit? And here's the thing. Do right by the fans, do right by the university. Is there a way that he's going to take a little bit less money? Is there a chance that he would go without completely emptying that $44 million buyout? And at the same time, yes, Kentucky is an SEC program. It's not going to bankrupt them. But at the same time, that's a huge, hefty amount of money to spend, especially when you're talking about things like NIL, when you're talking about the next coach up and everything else that goes with it. So it's interesting to me to see what will happen here. Is there a way for him to move on in grace, get a little bit of chunk of change and move on, and then everybody can be happy? Or is this going to get ugly? That's the thing we have to pay attention to for the next few weeks. And this is just the start of it. This is the first top tier SEC team that you'll be playing. Yes, Texas ain't what they used to be. Texas, or not they ain't what they used to be, but they also ain't what we expected them to be. Texas has not been the best, but they're still going to give Kentucky more than enough to handle in a couple weeks. We follow that up with Tennessee, a hated rival, and then you got Auburn, who we'll see what Auburn can do, and then Florida, who just had a pretty big upset of their own, beating Texas. So we'll see what happens. It's a long, long stretch, and it may be a long season if things don't go in a way that Mark Stoops may leave before then. I don't see it happening. I see him holding out through, but maybe we'll see. There's rumors out there about Bush Hamden maybe making a move, maybe during the bye week. We'll see what happens. But anyway, just let me know your thoughts and opinions on the situation. How do you, if you're a Kentucky fan, are you at all, is there turmoil in your heart when it comes to one Mark Stoops? Just seeing this, did you see the emotion that I saw in that moment? Or do you think that I'm just making a little bit too much out of nothing? Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. You can follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter. And of course, you can follow ESPN Louisville and 93.9 The Ville on all the other associated social media platforms as well. I'll catch you guys next time. Cards, Cats, Bourbon, and Bluegrass. See y'all.